Jiggity, jiggity Jace.
Jiggity.
Jiggity Jace. We are back inside the lab, which means...
It's Tour Pro Tuesday, Chris.
It is Tour Pro Tuesday. And I got, this morning I woke up and my wife, she was saying, it is Tour Pro Tuesday. She said it with a great deal of gusto.
Yeah, it is.
So I am excited to bring Tour Pro Tuesday to you folks at home because we have another brand new competitor on the block
Brand new
today.
competitor.
We have not yet analyzed this guy's golf swing, and love him or hate him, all you want, he is a legend of the game.
That's right. One of the best, potentially.
One of the best that's ever walked planet Earth. Phil Mickelson is on the block today because I found a video of him recently playing golf with Bryson DeChambeau in the Break 50 series, which is kind of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard him talking about how he's trying to shorten and tighten up his golf swing so that he can hit more fairways, which had me get the wheels turning, Jace.
A swing that I feel is shorter and a little slower, but I hit it in play. And
Why do we want to shorten and tighten the golf swing up?
Because it can make us more consistent, Chris. That's what we want. We want consistency, right?
More consistency, that's what everybody wants. And a lot of times people lose sight of how important it is to build a fast-paced golf swing, but also have a golf swing that's got a great deal of control, which is what we're going to be talking about here today. You can have a fast-paced golf swing, and you can have control, but how you manage the club face inside of that movement is critical. And you're going to see today that we're going to start getting the wheels turning because later on in the week, we're going to be heading out into the range, and we're going to be showing you a drill that's one of my favorites that helps people learn how to release the club properly and helps stabilize the club face simultaneously. And you can start building a much more free-flowing release, a much more free-flowing golf swing, and you'll be a happier golfer when it's all said and done.
Well, Chris, let's hop right into it, why don't we?
Let's hop right into it. Oh yeah, before we get into today's video, we know that a lot of you at home are not yet subscribed to the channel because we can see it in our analytics. Do me a big favor, it doesn't cost you anything, it doesn't take much time. Head down below, click that I want to subscribe button and turn on your bell notifications. And if you ever have any questions or comments, please feel free to post that up below and make sure you hit the thumbs up button for us. Now, let's get to work. So last week in the Freddie Couples video, we talked a lot about the importance of being able to move the upper body and the lower body in transition perfectly to set up the rest of the downswing. And this week what we're going to be talking about is the ability for you to be able to produce a lot of your club head speed in the speed zone by leverage. But speed and leverage is one of those things that's only as good if you know how to control it. And a lot of times people lose sight of how important it is to be able to have control of your club face through the hitting area. And you can actually have a perfect blend of club face control and speed if you understand how to release the club and how to manage your lag. Lag, one of those very in vogue terms in the world of golf instruction where everybody wants it. And lag is one of those things that you should never try to create and try to preserve in the downswing. But lag is also a byproduct of how your body is moving in sequence. Now, when you look at Phil Mickelson on the right-hand side of the screen, he's hitting a fairway wood. And you're going to see that these two different style golf swings when he has an iron in his hand yield more or less the same sort of results with his hands and his arms down in front of his body. Again, this is very much tied to his DNA and how he moves the golf club in space. Watching things from a down-the-line perspective, what I'll notice with a lot of players at home that try to create lag is they try to do it by setting the wrist too early on in the swing. And they try to fold up the trail arm really quickly as well. Phil does not do either one of those. In fact, he hasn't really set his wrist much here at all. And if you look at it, his hands during his takeaway are above his belt line. So what he's doing here is establishing a lot of width and rotation early on in the swing shape. And as he continues to go up to the top of the swing here, what you're going to notice is that as the hands get about sternum height, and that lead arm is parallel to the ground, that's when he starts to add a little bit of flexion to that trail arm. But notice how far his hands and his arms are away from his trail shoulder at the top of the golf swing. They're not collapsed in. Okay, that's a big, big misunderstanding for a lot of you at home is that you feel like you have to have more flexion in that trail arm and a lot of wrist set in order to be able to see more angle. Now, this is where you're going to see Phil does things a little bit differently like you would see of the modern day golf swing. And this is something that he's actually trying to move himself away from to be able to hit more fairways. And I'll explain that to you as we get further into this. When you watch him on the way down now, he starts to change the direction with his lower body beautifully. His hands and his arms start to work down, and notice how close that club shaft is to his trail shoulder. But also notice how upright the shaft is. It's not going through his forearm like you would see of all the other players in the world, right? It's very upright because of how much lag he's taking into the hitting area. And notice this frame right through here, through the point of where he's getting ready to deliver the club. Look at the club face. You can see that he's got the club face very open by today's standards. And it's actually outside of his hands. But now, as part of his DNA, what Phil uses in his golf swing is he uses a great deal of wrist and forearm rotation from here to the other side of his body. And he can do that because he understands how to keep the arm structure and the shoulder structure working perfectly to be able to offset the rate of closure in the club face. Now, I want you to watch this lead hand very closely, okay? Keep an eye on that lead hand as we scrub it back and forth. You can see that he's basically almost looking like he's got a screwdriver in his hand and he's screwing a screw into the wall. Okay, that's a very, very strong amount of rotation that he puts in his wrists. And again, he can do that because, number one, he's putting speed in the right spot, and he also knows how to manage lag. Lag is a double-edged sword. You want lag, but you shouldn't be able to try to produce it with tons of wrist set early on, and you shouldn't be trying to hang on to it. You should be trying to find the balance of lag in your downswing, or the balance of lag in your golf swing in general, to be able to understand that that's the amount that you should be able to take to be optimal. Everybody's a little bit different. The grip that you bring to the table, how much body turn, how much weight shift you're using, all of those factors play a significant role in it. But I want you to remember this, that if any of you have followed my content for a while now, you know that I call this zone down here from about hip high to hip high is your speed zone. This is your speed and your stability zone for today's video. You want the golf club going its fastest down here. This is where the body and everything starts to slow down so that the club can do this. But if you just come down to the hitting area and you stop your arms and your shoulders from moving, then you're going to have a disaster on your hands. Your job is to get the arms and the shoulder structure moving perfectly from about just outside your trail thigh to just outside your lead thigh. And you're going to see that here perfectly with this sort of perspective that we have on Phil's golf swing. So as we load into the trail side, okay, now we start to change the direction. Upper body and lower body working in unison with one another. Look at how much lag he has through the midsection of the downswing. Hands and arms are getting down into that really important part. And this is where you'll see most players will speed the golf club up. Let's just say if it was a 6-iron in their hands and it's going 22 to 23 miles an hour through the takeaway and the backswing, that it's going to now speed up to 96 miles an hour in this short space. But watch what he does with his wrists. Notice how that wrist is pointed out in front of him with tons of angle. Notice how that wrist is now pointed down the target line. Now watch these few frames post-impact as there's a collision with a golf ball. I love this angle right here because you can see that he's still working that screwdriver move with the right hand. Now watch as the hands start to get to that really important green circle that I was talking about outside the lead thigh. You see how they're nice and stable? There's not a whole lot of movement there. How the hands and arms are moving through this position is through tilt. Secondary tilt is one of those things that you need to have in your golf swing in order to keep the arm structure moving through the hitting area properly. And a lot of you actually create too much secondary tilt before the point of contact. And you don't have this timed up to allow the tilt to start to naturally increase through the point of contact to help add the stability back to your wrist pattern. And that's exactly what I'm going to be teaching you later on in the week in the next video. So pretty cool. You're going to be able to learn how to get speed and stability into your release the right way and tie it back to your DNA. We'll see you guys in the next video.